The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or ADRA, is scaling up operations to deploy humanitarian assistance for children and families displaced by the war in Ukraine. The relief agency has launched a fundraising campaign to strengthen programs for refugees from Ukraine and other global communities. According to the United Nations, more than 600,000 Ukrainians have been forced to flee their homes. More than 5 million people are expected to seek refuge in other countries, including the U.S. In a statement last week, Michael Kruger, president of ADRA International, said, ADRA calls for peace and the protection of the millions of people impacted by the crisis in Ukraine. Join us in prayer for the safety and well-being of tens of thousands of children and families who are in harm's way, are and will be displaced. We are taking measures to ensure the protection of our staff on the ground and working with trusted partners and the Adventist Church to ensure our humanitarian aid can quickly reach those in need. We sat down with Director of Emergency Management, Mario Oliveira, to talk about what ADRA is doing to help those displaced by the conflict, and how you can help their humanitarian efforts.
Hi, Mario. Thank you so much for joining us today on ANN Video. I'm so happy to have you here. I know you guys are so busy, but we're so happy to have you talk to us about the situation in Eastern Europe and Ukraine. Mario, I guess my first question would be, could you tell our viewers a little bit about what is happening right now in the Ukraine and the surrounding countries?
Hi, Jennifer. It's a pleasure for having me in your studio. And the situation is changing so rapidly that the information that I can provide you now in a couple of hours, it's outdated. Basically, let's say that the east of Ukraine is impossible for us as ADRA humanitarian agency to work. The security situation doesn't allow the humanitarian workers, the ADRA employees to go out and to do the work that we are doing. So we suspended since Friday all activities in the eastern part of Ukraine. On the west part, it's where we have the huge influx of refugees fleeing, especially for Poland. It's the main country receiving the most refugees from Ukraine. But there is also a couple of other countries. There is Slovakia, Hungary, and Romania in the south, and also Moldova. So these are the countries where we are very active. In Poland, we have deployed a team that they will be in place tomorrow. So coming from Australia, from Germany, from India, in order to raise the capacity, the response that ADRA Poland has to face this huge influx of refugees. At the same time, in the southern border with Romania, we have a strong office, ADRA Romania, and they are doing extraordinary work, not only to receive refugees. We have a strong church in this area, and they are providing shelter in youth camps, in schools, and it's fantastic, the work that have been putting in place to receive and to support these refugees. At the same time, they did it during this last weekend, a humanitarian convoy. They went until Kiev, and they distributed food, linens, mattresses, and other humanitarian items, donations. So it was a 48 hours travel going forth, but now the situation is getting worse. It's not possible. In Romania, in Ukraine itself, we are organizing the activity, especially in two towns in the south and near the border with Romania. One is Chernivici and the other is Mukachevo. So we have staff there, ADRA staff. The country director of ADRA Ukraine is based in Mukachevo, and we have a team, ADRA Carpathia, and we are coordinating how we can support the population, and especially the IDPs that are fleeing the country towards these three countries that I mentioned, Slovakia, Hungary, and Romania. So this is in a nutshell the activities that we have been involved.
Yeah, I know as a global church, we're praying for all of the workers, the humanitarian agency workers. I know it's hard with the situation changing so quickly. I'm sure it's hard to tell me what your plans are. I know you're in meetings all the time, or what you could be doing. So I would like to ask, the questions that we get from our members. They want to know how they can help, how they can support you, how they can be there for ADRA, how they can be there for the people of Ukraine, and even, and of Russia, because everybody right now, of the people that you were talking to, these other countries are receiving all these different people. So if you could say to our members, how can we help? How can we support you? What would you say to us?
I think first and foremost is through prayers. Prayers for the people that are fleeing, prayers for the leaders of the countries to be wise in the peace talking that they are having. I think prayer, we need lots of prayer now. You can help also sharing what ADRA and others NGOs are doing in the country and outside. You can go to adra.org and see, or in the social media, Instagram, Facebook, and others social media. So sharing what we are doing. And of course, it's very important to pray, but it's also important to support the work that is done in a tangible way, which is through donations. So adra.org/help now is a special campaign that we, ADRA International, we put in place in order to support the work that is done in these countries. We are not accepting in-kind donations, because to send food or shelter or whatever, or tarps from here to those countries, it will cost a lot, it will take so long. So it's much easier, cheaper, and quicker and effective to buy directly in place and to support. This is another of the aspects that we are doing more and more, is giving cash or vouchers to the refugees in order for themselves to decide what they need. Because for one family, they might need food. For other family, it might need the diapers for the kids. Another can be to buy medicine. So giving money, we give them autonomy, or at the same time dignity. And it's not only ADRA International, but several NGOs. We support more and more the refugees through the cash and voucher assistance. We call this a CVA. So you can support ADRA through these different ways.
Yeah. Mario, I don't want to keep you, so I want to thank you for your time, and I want to thank you for what you're telling us. I want to thank ADRA for keeping the world updated on what you're doing and for your amazing work, not only in Ukraine, but everywhere. So thank you, Mario, for your time, and thank you for being with us. And if anybody wants to know and keep up with these stories on a regular basis, adra.org keeps everybody updated through their press releases. And that's where also you can find information about how to help in ADRA, so adra.org. Thank you, Mario, for being with us.
Thank you, Jennifer, for having me.